Hello, good evening. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we have joining us Miss Mitchell, who's in the top corner of my screen, who's head of the sixth form and works very closely with them particularly in the university, day-to-day life of sixth form, but also in the university application process. And we have Dr. Richardson, who's directly above me, probably not on your screen, but is directly above me, and he obviously oversees or continues to oversee the academic journey, and is a person that will be able to offer you lots of advice about subjects and things like that if you wish to have further conversations. And Angelique, who's just as a bystander, innocent bystander, who's here in a marketing role, just to add her thoughts, and a current sixth form parent, and so obviously useful to have somebody who can offer input. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a PowerPoint in a moment, just as a bit of a visual guide, and we'll pause at opportune moments during that process for you to ask any questions, or Miss Mitchell or Dr. Richardson might have something to chip in at that moment in time. So I'm now going to hopefully, by the brilliance of technology, share my screen with you, hopefully. Okay, so we'll make a start. So as we said, we're all here to discuss sixth form, and obviously we'll look at some general concept of sixth form, but also mainly focus around what we do and what we offer, and the success that we have, and obviously we hope that many of you will continue your academic journey with us. So we'll make a start. So decisions. So it's a very intense time for you under normal circumstances, never mind the current situation. And obviously at the moment you've got a lot of decisions to make and things to think about in the future, and some of those are quite scary. There's quite a lot of pressure at the moment. Through exams, but also through the decisions you've got to make, which range around things like where will you undertake the next part of your journey, the career. Have you got a career in mind? Because a lot of the decisions you make might link to that. The types of course to do. So there's various courses. A-level is one of them, which we'll look at a little bit. The subjects, what subjects to do. What universities are you thinking about, and where might you think in university? And that does lead largely to a lot of pressure. But don't worry, we're here to support you and find the right path for you and each pupil. And I think that's very much what we do in our sixth form, is to help guide pupils to the right path for them. And the focus is very much around them. We don't have a one rule fits all method. We work very closely with each pupil to make sure they get the right journey for them, and hopefully make it as enjoyable as possible, but support them and take the pressure off them. So what next? So the options at this stage are: you can leave school on the Friday, the last Friday of June, if you're 16, by the end of the summer holidays. But that sounds very exciting, but unfortunately it doesn't mean forever. You must then do one of the following until you're 18. So you've got these options. Stay in full-time education, which is what we hope you do, and we hope you stay in full-time education with us. You can start the apprenticeship or traineeship scheme, or you can go down a more work-based route with volunteering, but you still must remain in education or training. So you do have to continue your journey to the age of 18. Where are we in that process? Well, currently on the left-hand side, which is your key stage 4, obviously completing your GCSEs. You're about to enter the middle stage, which links to life after 18. And obviously, there are the options I've just spoke about, and we sit at the top of that, and we offer A-levels, which is our journey. And it links to post-18. And basically, the reason why we want pupils to continue with the A-level journey is because it keeps your options open, and we hope will give you as many options of careers when you leave at Fyling Hall. making these decisions at the age of 15, 16 is very, very difficult. Many pupils don't know what they want to do, and so we do everything we talk about and do in the next few years is about making as many options as you can and keeping them open. So hopefully A-levels will do that for you. We do have a lot of pupils that change their mind even during A-levels about careers they thought they wanted to do, or courses they wanted to study at university. And if you do change your mind, the A-levels that we offer do keep your options open. So that's one of our key focuses. What is important? So important factors. Now we hear a lot of these. I can go home if I have free periods. My best friend's going there. I can have a line if I don't have lessons. I don't have to wear uniform. I can go for lunch in town. I don't have to do sport. I would argue these are not the most important factors, and very often people are influenced by them, but they are not the most important things. And also we hear, I want to study such and such a subject, but we don't offer it. Well, we will return to this later, and I'll explain why that is not necessarily the case, that you can study subjects at a later point that don't link directly to your A-levels, but we will talk about that in a few moments. So what is important? Well, we view what works for you as being important. We would argue the class size is important, which, as you know, is one of the things that we offer. Small class sizes. We argue teachers are crucial. The results or previous results of a school are obviously an indication of success. Extracurricular, what is offered outside the classroom. The university application process is really crucial during your time in sixth form. Facilities that are available to you, and independence, as in you becoming independent as a person and as a person working. And obviously, I want to sort of explain what we do. Well, we focus on each individual to build on success. Obviously, we are hopeful you will be successful in the summer and obtain good GCSEs, and we would want to continue the journey for that, because we know you, we know how you work, and at this time, I think continuity is really important, because it's already had a lot of disruption, and so we want to continue to build on your journey. Class size. So we offer a tailored learning experience for each class. Because they're small, it means we can work each class in very different ways and play to the strengths and weaknesses of the group, and offer a very tailored experience for you as a class, and make sure that you're very actively involved in what's happening in the classroom. Obviously, one of the negatives of being in a bigger group is that your interaction and access to the teacher and things is restricted and limited. The teachers, these are one of the most crucial elements in your transition to A-level. A-level is a very different way of working. It becomes a more independent process, and the teachers knowing you and helping you and supporting you in that process is really crucial. And we do find that transition is one of the hardest things, managing the jump from GCSE to A-level, and teachers play a very important role in that. Results. I can quote statistics at you, and I will do slightly later, but I think overall the key message from us is that the individual is at the core, and group statistics and school statistics are very nice, but we do really want to focus on your child at the end of the journey, and each individual really, and have they done or achieved what they can achieve. And so having statistics is great, but to be honest, we take more pride on results day when each individual's got or achieved to the next step of their journey. Extracurricular. So we have started, or we did start an enhanced sixth form programme that has had to be paused because of obviously COVID and the last year we've had, but we've formulated an enhanced experience that will offer a combination of cultural and social events and things. And I'll return to that slightly later, but that will return, and it's an important part of sixth form, growing outside the classroom. And then university application, we have dedicated lessons to this, where you will look at this in great detail, and individual support. Each pupil gets support from the tutors, from the head of sixth form, from Dr. Richardson, supporting them through every step of the journey, because it is a quite a daunting journey, deciding your university or not, whether university is right for you. We have dedicated sixth form space for working and socialising, which again is important in sixth form, because it gives you a chance to get, although being part of the school is a crucial part of being in the sixth form, it's important that you've got space to get away where you can work on and concentrate, and also socialise as a group. And then we have a focus. Independence is a focus on promoting responsibility in all areas of school life for the sixth form, and making sure that they are maximising their opportunities, maximising their time, utilising their time effectively, and learning to be an independent student, which again is crucial as you set out on the university. So I will pause there and see if anyone has any questions, or whether Dr. Richardson or Miss Mitchell has anything to add at that point.
I can't see any hands up. That must all be very clear.
Okay, good. Okay.
You are going to talk a bit more about some of those things, are you?
Yeah, we'll visit them
as you go through. Yeah.
And anyone can put their hands up at any time.
Yeah, I did like the enhanced bit, and that is a real shame, because that's something we'd introduced with the current year 13, and we thought was going very well. So that included a residential trip, and a visit to York, visit to Help for Heroes, and just trying to form a bond between the year 12s and the year 13s, and any new students that came into school, because we're a small sixth form, we don't always make a distinction between 12s and 13s, and they very much work as a team, whether it's fundraising or organising a Halloween event. And so we thought this idea at the start of going away was a great way to get everybody working together. But sadly, it didn't happen this year.
No, but we are confident we will get back there.
Yeah.
In due course, hopefully. Okay, so I'll carry on then. So I think Dr. Richardson's now going to just talk a little bit about the next couple of slides. Are you there, Dr. Richardson?
Sorry, yeah. First of all, learn to unmute yourself.
Yes.
So for the majority of you, you'll be looking at your the A-level choice that is available to you, and certainly when you've been looking around other institutions, other colleges, other sixth forms, etc., you will be inundated with a massive range of subjects that are available to you. And really, there's some sort of fallacies out there that need to be addressed in terms of the courses that you need to take to do certain subjects. So, for example, one of the ones that we often get is if somebody wants to take law at university, and then they will consider taking an A-level in law, or that you must have to do psychology in order to take a psychology course. That's not always the case. And there are certain subjects that we'll talk about in the moment that we prefer to focus our attention on, that we feel are generally more appropriate. So the A-levels that we focus on are the ones that are in the experience from the feedback that we get from universities, are the subjects that will get you onto most courses in most universities. And a couple of years ago, these would have gone by the name of the facilitating subjects. That's been dropped by the Russell Group of universities because it was considered to be focusing too narrowly on a narrow range of A-level subjects. But you cannot get beyond the fact that actually these subjects are the ones that will get you on most courses in most universities. So if we've got, okay, so what are those? So when we look at the A-level subjects that we have chosen to put forward, then we've done very much from this idea of the facilitating subjects. So these are the core subjects that, as I said, that generally if you take at least two of these, then you are keeping open most courses in most universities. So these are probably the obvious ones that you would think of: maths, English, literature, any of the sciences, a modern foreign language, geography, history, or economics. Now, alongside those core ones, you'd obviously have the specialised subjects. And these are generally linked to if you want to follow a particular career path. So these ones are, if we can have those ones up.
They're up, aren't they?
Not for me.
They're up on my screen.
Okay. So these would be generally subjects that are perhaps following a particular career path. So maybe into art or drama or music or perhaps sport, etc. Or within IT. So alongside our facilitating subjects, we then introduce the sort of specialised subjects. And what we would generally recommend is that you have perhaps a mixture or combination of them. So you would perhaps have two or three facilitating subjects alongside a specialised subject, or even the extended project qualification, which is becoming increasingly popular. But most students will start off either doing 4 ASs or 3 AS levels and perhaps the EPQ.
And I mean, sorry, just to cut in. So yeah, as Dr. Richardson said, it's a traditional set of subjects, but these are the subjects that actually access probably the widest spectrum of courses, and it relates back to the comment I made earlier that young people, it's very young in your life to make definitive decisions about going into potentially specific fields, and if you do seek that journey in A-levels, you can actually find out you are shutting many doors very, very early in the process. And so, for example, in relation to law, if you've studied English literature, that door is well and truly open, and actually it's a preferred qualification to A-level law for law courses. So they're the subjects we study. I don't know, Dr. Yeah,
sorry, there was a question there from Freddie.
Yeah.
For his mum.
I was wondering what the extended project qualification was, or what it entails.
Yeah, Dr. Richardson, can you maybe clarify what that is?
Yeah, the extended project qualification is equivalent to just over half an A-level, and as it suggests, it's a project that a student will undertake that is of interest to them. So this can be any topic, any subject that they would like to study independently in more depth. Now, it's becoming increasingly popular with universities because of the independent study element to it. There's basically roughly about 120 hours of study time that they put to in coming up with an interest or project that they want to investigate, researching it, giving a timeline on it, and then either writing a 5,000-word essay or coming up with some form of artifact, some sort of made artifact that they can then present through at the end. It is universities, because of the independent element, the universities are starting to correlate it with students that are more successful in surviving the early part of the university course. For a number of students that have been sort of spoon-fed through the A-level system, then the level of independence that they are then subjected to at university can come as quite a shock to them. Whereas if you followed the EPQ, because you are independent in the way that you are guided, but not actually taught how to follow the project through, then there's quite a strong correlation between students doing better in the first years of their university, to such an extent that a number of universities will actually lower the entry requirements if you've actually got an EPQ qualification.
Okay.
Answered the question.
Thank you. That's great.
Dr. Richardson, is it good just to give an example though, because it's quite it is such a broad range, but we have had two examples recently, like Phoebe, who's in year 13, has done a project on art and how art's used as a therapy, particularly, is it related to schizophrenia? I may have got that wrong, but it's how art is used as a therapy with people with mental health issues. But also in the previous year, we had Elsa, who designed and made her own tutu and produced an amazing product at the end of all this research, and had to write and do a lot of detail. It is quite an academic, rigorous process, but you've got two very different subjects there and two very different outcomes. But because they'd chosen it and it was something they were very keen on, I think students find it easier to study for that than perhaps following, more traditional A-level. So
there is no prescribed course to the EPQ. So it's number of students enter it for various reasons. One, it's just it's something that they have been interested in, over a number of years, and would like to follow that through and actually end up with a qualification in it at the end. Students will go into it so that they can turn up to a university interview more prepared to discuss why they actually want to do a particular topic. If you were going into medicine and you had done an EPQ on a particular disease, you'd researched a particular disease or something, then obviously you can turn up to your university interview more prepared and to talk more knowledgeably about why you want to follow through a course. So there's a number of reasons why people take them up, but they are, I think, a very useful qualification.
Angelique, I don't know if you could maybe as a parent just offer Phoebe's sort of perspective from the process, because she's in the process of completing.
Yeah. So how Phoebe came to decide to do an EPQ is she got her results back and she was essentially undecided between two different subjects. and she just couldn't tilt it one way or the other. So having spoken to Dr. Richardson, this was one just brilliant, because as he and Jane and Steve have said, it's very independent based. So if that is a skill set that you already have or that you want to develop, Phoebe enjoyed that challenge and the project management of it. As she said, she had the passion. She also loved the fact, if I'm really frank, is they do lower the grade boundaries, because they are looking for those independent thinkers. So I think what Phoebe struggled with initially is, because it is so broad, how do you decide what that topic is? But make it personal, because it's just an amazing opportunity, because you can put your passion into it, and then it's that practical project management.
Thank you. Okay. Right, so we'll move on a little bit. So as promised, the statistics. Now, these are, we not used last year's statistics because of the much famous algorithm which, shall we say, played havoc with all things exam grade. So just looking at previous year's performance, obviously the most important column for us there's lots of average grades and grade per student, but obviously that's not really about a personal individual experience. That's about a collective of a school, and what we're really interested in is the column that's in lots of colours, and it's the progress score that emphasises the value added from GCSE to A-level, and it's always our focus is making sure that a pupil continues to develop and evolve and maximise their potential and go on to sort of do the best they are capable of doing, which obviously overall statistics don't account for pupils that aren't going to get A grades. So we do focus this, and you can see, we've been strongly ranked in this for the last few years, and again, that's mainly as part of the being a small school and being able to tailor the experience for pupils. So how do we achieve the individual progress? So one of the big changes at A-level is that your relationship with your teacher changes. You spend a lot more time with them, and obviously that being a positive relationship and one that you've already got established, I think even at the moment is more crucial than ever, particularly with all the uncertainty. And so we're straight off and running. We don't have, sort of getting to know new staff and things like that. So that's always a massive bonus. We always talk about small class sizes, and basically that ensures that you're contributing and active in a lesson at all times. The whole experience is very interactive and tailored around the group, which we talked about before. I think one of the key things, you have a lot of access to teachers out of lessons. Pupils that we've had that have left us and actually rejoined us for sixth form, one of the most difficult things they've found going to bigger institutions is that they just haven't had access to teachers because they've had a lot of classes. And so one of the real strengths is being able to be mentored and supported through that process, and getting that access, and evening and weekend revision sessions are a very common part of that and an important part of preparing for exams. And students are encouraged to take responsibility for their own time and supported in doing that, and some pupils take to it very quickly and very easily. Others need a little bit more support and guidance, and obviously we closely monitor progress, and obviously all of that's underpinned by working carefully with parents at home. And so it's that they are really the cornerstones of our success. So and how we've managed to make sure that pupils do progress and make excellent progress to their A-levels. Destination of leavers. So obviously, where do our pupils end up when they leave us? What institutions? So there's just a selection of institutions that and courses that our pupils end up on. And I think the key there is it's diverse. It shows the diversity of our sixth form, different institutions and different courses. Most importantly, though, in the last 3 years, over 90% of our leavers have achieved a place at their first choice university course, which is, again, how we really do gauge our success at A-level, is do we get people to the next stage of their journey where they want to be, doing what they want to do, and that's crucial. And again, the successful formula, it goes without saying, a lot of it is down to the hard work of the pupils, and that can never be underestimated and is always the key factor. But we do support them very closely in the process of identifying courses and institutions, because that's quite a scary, open-ended thing. Is there's lots of universities out there and lots of courses, so getting support in at that early stage with the tutors and the head of the sixth form and Dr. Richardson supporting pupils in that. A close working relationship with the pupil, tutor and parent to make those plans is really important. Where are we heading? Where do we want to get to? And how is the best way to do that? We have the dedicated lessons on the UCAS, which allow a lot of time and support in researching courses and universities in year 12, getting that early sort of insight into what is out there and what might interest the pupils. Support and guidance during all stages of the UCAS application. Applying to university is a process that is quite daunting, and so we work very closely with pupils and parents through that process, and then mentoring the students in the preparation of what is a crucial personal statement, which is quite a daunting task to sell yourself on paper, but quite a useful life skill, because obviously as you move out of school, selling yourself to people before they meet you, it becomes more and more important. And so we work very closely with the pupil via a holistic education to offer a balance between in and out of the classroom. You are competing against other people in academic qualifications, and so we try and offer you or we try and make sure our pupils are standing out outside of the classroom as well, because that's very often the deciding factor, and the EPQ can be one of those opportunities to do that and to show that you've got something a little bit different about yourself to offer. And it is a team effort. It really is a team effort, and the sixth form tutors and Dr. Richardson work very hard to make sure that the 95% figure is a reality for our pupils. And when you talk to them all, when they're happy and content as to where they've got to doing the right course, I suppose that's the greatest reward, and probably more important than any statistics I can quote at you on an individual basis.
Could I say?
Yeah.
Sorry, just a little bit about that, because you've stressed, Steve, how daunting it is, but I also want to say how exciting it is and how it becomes so much easier to study your A-levels when you've got something that you're aiming for and a goal in mind. And that the UCAS process for current year 13 finished on Friday. That was the deadline. So we had 10 applicants for university, and already this week we've started with the year 12s. So they're investigating all the courses open. And every year that I do it, I learn something new. I've had a student apply this year for a surface pattern course. I'd never even heard of that. I'm still not entirely sure what it is, but she is very excited about doing it. So it is, although there's a lot out there, it's also a very, very exciting time and gives real focus to what you do. So I just wanted to stress that the good side of it as well. And what we're doing this year, we can't go on the visits that we would normally do to open days. Normally Dr. Richardson and I would go to Newcastle to go to an open university day, or we take them through to Leeds to a university fair, and those options haven't been available. But we've teamed up the year 12 and the year 13 so they can explain to the year 12 what the process is like and just give them some helpful hints. So we started already.
Yeah, Thank you. And I think that links back to the opportunities thing, because as Miss Mitchell says, when you start exploring what's out there in year 12 and 13, there's a lot more than you think. And sometimes if you've made decisions about subjects very early in your life, it can impact those. And so, as I've said, it all links back to opportunities and keeping options open. And then outside of the classroom, obviously, as I've said, a key part of sixth form life is...
Sorry, Steve, Emmy's got a hand up.
Oh, sorry, Emmy, yeah.
Hi, it's Emmy's dad. Just a quick question regarding sort of the school's interaction with the armed forces, if anybody's thinking about going on that direction, and sort of army careers and bursaries and such like. Does the school have much involvement with the army in that sense?
We have had pupils that have worked with the army and obviously the local cadets, but at the moment we have a stronger link with the RAF, which obviously is in terms of a potential work experience option. The station commander obviously came down and did prize giving for us a couple of years ago, and he's very open to the idea of pupils working up there. Obviously, that's slightly more challenging just where we are because of there's no sort of army barracks close by, but it's certainly somewhere we've had links, and particularly through work experience, we can look to broaden that horizon and get the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah. The key to making a personal statement is easy to write is to have plenty to include, and obviously we talked before about outside the classroom. That's what we have actively tried to promote and encourage, and unfortunately COVID has restricted that a little bit, but it's obviously a focus moving forward as we look to return to normal, and like I said, having plenty to write or plenty to include involves maximising the opportunities outside of the classroom. Outside the classroom, we do as well feel offers as many opportunities for personal growth, and that's a crucial part of growing up, preparing for university, is the growth of yourself as a person and exploring yourself outside your comfort zone. And although the classroom does offer those opportunities, outside is probably where you get a greater feeling for that, and as we've just discussed there, being involved in things like cadets and working with outside agencies and work experiences is certainly an opportunity to do that. And we promote this through a series of things. One of the core things, as Miss Mitchell alluded to earlier, is we have several team building and cultural experiences throughout the sixth form, throughout the 2 years of the sixth form, where we would offer a chance to grow in different environments, which is crucial. And we have done those up at the RAF base and things like that in the past. And last year we went to York and went to look at Help the Heroes and did a session over there with them in the barracks over there. Residential trips as well. So we've got a plan for those, and that's something we'll look to continue to build and progress in the coming 12 months. We've got regular work experience where pupils we've established with local partners, so a solicitor where we've had pupils going out and doing work experience regularly, and obviously through our contacts of parents and companies we've worked with previously, offering that regular work experience is certainly very, very appealing to universities, and particularly if you've got a clear insight into what you do or what courses you want to do. They are looking at pupils who've actively gone out and sought experience in those areas, which is always great, and we have a partnership and with several people and even companies that haven't where we haven't matched a pupil to them yet that would be very willing to take them on. Duke of Edinburgh, which again has sort of hit the buffers at the moment a little bit due to the current situation, but obviously that's something we would encourage sixth form pupils to continue with and complete the gold if they get the opportunity to. And we've done that in the past few years by teaming up with Durham School and doing the gold expedition over in the Lake Districts with them, which has been a great opportunity, and 3 days of very, very hard work for the pupils. We focus on a position of responsibility within the school community, whether that be helping out in the junior school, mentoring opportunities with the reading buddies, positions on school councils, and any responsibility around the school. And Miss Mitchell's worked very hard to establish that with the pupils through the prefect system, where they take responsibility for things like fundraising, where we've talked about organising events and stuff like that, selecting charities to support, and then pushing them forward. And they did great work last term in supporting the Anthony Nolan Trust, which obviously has been very close to our heart through Evie Hodgson, and so they raised a fantastic amount of money, largely off their own back with very little support. They were very proactive in that, and that's something that we really do encourage, because taking responsibility and becoming independent. And we also have started a program of specialist lectures and careers events where we will return to going to Newcastle and Leeds for the university things, and Mr. Instone had arranged for several people to speak to the pupils and come in, and that's again something that we'll look to continue to develop in the future. And they're just some of the ideas that we focus around, and I don't know if Miss Mitchell has any more she'd like to mention, or whether we've covered them.
No, I think you've covered everything there. Yeah.
And so anyway, that's thank you for listening. I'm happy now to ask or answer any questions that people may have, if they have any.
Just with regards to the sort of school commitments of the support and all that sort of thing that Emmy might be asked to do, how do you find a balance between that commitment and things like study time and free time? What is the commitment that you would be asked to do with regards to the support side of things?
I mean, I think with anything, obviously the primary focus is always the qualifications, because without that, your personal statement can be lovely, but you've got to hit your grades. So we do focus primarily on that and add things as we go. I think the secret is not to overwhelm them early in year 12, because transitioning to A-levels is quite a difficult thing anyway, and just dropping lots on them then can become quite difficult. So I suppose we nurse it in over time and balance it for each pupil so it's correct for them. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're quite right, and we do keep a close eye on them, but we also find that actually having a lot of free time is not good for students when you've come from year 11. So they are study periods, they're not free periods. But also we find that having structure for the day does help students to study. But we also, because we're so small, we've had loads of students come up and say, I'd like to do this, is it possible? Can I do an assembly on the political situation in Hong Kong? And we say, yeah, go for it. You prepare it, and we'll find you a slot and you can do it. Or I want to raise some money for the Anthony Nolan Trust, or whatever it might be. Because we're small, we can sort of cater for those things. And we found that the students, once they get into sixth form, they've seen previous students do it, and they very much come up with their own ideas, and we would encourage that, and then we can support them. So, and I can see Joe's got his hand up.
Hi, are we unmuted? Yeah. I was just thinking, with all that's going on with COVID and everything, how's that going to affect the criteria for choosing subjects? Are they going to have to get a 7 if, for example, in maths, if they want to do maths, or is it going to be based on teachers' assessment of their ability to do the A-level based on what they've done so far? Because I'm conscious that they may finish the syllabus, and obviously that leads into A-levels, or does it?
I mean, obviously we're in the same position as everybody else with exam results, but also we've never applied a rigid set of grades. Sorry, I'm getting a feedback. So we've never said you've got to have a 7. But I think, again, it really helps if we know the students. So if we know that they've worked really hard and they're on the right track and are improving, if they've got a good level 6, then that would be fine. And we've also had the opportunity where people have maybe started, say, maths A level. They maybe find it quite difficult. They've started 4 and they want to carry on with 3, but they've maybe done that as an AS over 2 years. So, and we quite happily cater for that in the classroom. So we'll have some students doing A level, some doing AS within the same class. So we've never had a rigid policy on entry grades.
And I think, like you said, we would never let someone undertake a course where it's not realistic for them to get an end product, but we would sort of be guided. We'd be open and honest with you about, you know, what you want to achieve, whether we think that's a possibility. And I think it links back to the idea, like you said, of continuity at the moment is probably one of the most valued things, because you are going to be in a situation potentially where there are things you haven't done and not covered, and obviously we're aware of those. Moving to another institution, that will be another hurdle that's got to be overcome. But I think, like I said, we would talk openly and honestly with you about what's possible and make sure that they're on the right guidelines. But like I said, there's never you must get an 8 to do this subject or anything that specific, really. And partly because what I showed you earlier is actually we do see some pupils take off during A levels. It becomes a time when they do start to study the things they're more interested in, and actually that dedication does see them go on and progress and make a lot of progress.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
Izzy, you're unusually quiet. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, miss. I don't have any questions.
Oh,
actually, yeah, I do. What's a T level?
Oh, Dr. Richardson, one for you.
T levels are a new qualification that came in last year, and they're equivalent to 3 A levels, and you can almost think of them as the sort of opposite of a kind of an apprenticeship, where with an apprenticeship you would be spending perhaps 4 days a week in a job and 1 day in a college. With a T level, it's kind of the other way round. So it's orientated to a particular job. So at the moment, there's 3 of them that came out. One was to do with childcare. Another one was an engineering one, and there was something I think to do with catering. So if you were thinking about going into childcare, then you could take a T level, which would be spending 4 days in a college, an academic setting, and then 1 day a week in a vocational setting. Now they're expanding again this September. I think there's another 9 courses that they are releasing. I don't know what COVID has done to the spread of those, but they are. You can think of it almost as a more academic vocational route into a job.
But obviously, Izzy, they're not the right option. So, yeah. I mean, I suppose, Izzy, in a more serious, it's sort of what I was alluding to before. If there's an area where you're interested, where we can get you some work experience, because obviously you do have, as Miss Mitchell said, not free periods, because that's the curse of people going from GCSE to A level, is I'm free, I can go to town, or or whatever. It's about using your time effectively and efficiently, and we, can try to get you a placement and a work experience that will work around your timetable in school and allow you to sort of tick that vocational box and study A-levels.
All right, okay, thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Yeah, if I could just stick on just something that we said earlier. I think one of the biggest things for me when sort of teaching chemistry and the move from GCSE to AS or A-level is just how students underestimate just how quickly you've got to be hitting the ground running to succeed. There really is no let-up in the pace at AS and A-level. They really do. You really are under a lot of pressure to hit the ground running. And I think one of the issues of why we've had students come back to us is actually they find that transition quite difficult. You're trying to build up new relationships with your classmates, with the teachers. You're trying to come to terms with perhaps the new freedom where you can sit in a cafeteria for 3-4 hours of the day if you wish, or you may be able to go into town. And really, if you are aiming to succeed in your A-levels, then you really haven't got the time to be doing that. You need to be hitting the ground running. And I think students that have come back to us are the ones that have struggled with that, maybe not as much of a sort of focus that we can offer here.
I think just to wrap that point up, one of the things we will be looking at, obviously, because they've had such a disrupted time, this year 11 particularly, is we will look to start that process probably slightly earlier than normal because the traditional exam season won't happen, and so allow some preparation over the summer so that they are good to go and able to be ready, having had obviously a very nice relax and hopefully a summer holiday of sorts to sort of prep themselves and be ready. Anybody else?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay, well, then if that's all, thank you very much for your time. Obviously, we're happy to talk on a more individual basis about your child. Obviously, hopefully this gives you a general feel for what we do and how we do it and why we believe we're the right place to maximise the potential of you all. But if you want a more individual chat about things, subjects, etc., opportunities within school, feel free to contact us, and I'll either be able to talk to you myself or direct you to the right oracle of knowledge that we have probably sat around the screen, so you can have a conversation with them, or even just some of our current sixth form pupils who've maybe been through what you've been through and able to offer an insight. So thank you very much, and if nobody has anything more, have a good evening, and hope to see you all very soon.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.